Walk That Line is back. Thank you to all of you subscribers who have stayed loyal through these different hiatuses and stuff. You know, life kind of hit you. We were on vacation last week and just getting back in the groove of things has been a little bit tough for me, but we are back here on a Saturday morning to preview the week. You got 3 hours before these games. And if you see this after the game started, you could look at the late game slate, but you could also clown me for any of my picks here today. My name is Colin Bashingle, your host here at Bash's CFB Show. Make sure you like the video. If you like the video, let's get straight into it. Last night, you saw Clemson upset Louisville on the road. 2 missed field goals down the stretch, a missed extra point in the second quarter when they went up 9-3, and then also just the uncharacteristic penalties for a Jeff Brom squad. I mean, credit to Clemson for going on the road and gutting out a victory. They were not the better team in that game, though. Louisville let one get away. I think this is the second week in a row that Louisville let one get away, and just like that, their season is gone. They had playoff aspirations and playoff hopes, and they're dead to rights at the moment. Today is going to be a very interesting day. We're going to start with talking about the noon slate a little bit. I mean, Texas A&M, South Carolina, I thought would be an interesting game, but then you had the news that Lenore Sellers is going to hit the portal. At least that's what I heard. So he's allegedly not playing in this game. You can fact check me on that if I'm wrong. Pitt and Notre Dame, though, is going to be a fascinating game to me. I think this Notre Dame team is looking to run through this team and make a statement to the College Football Playoff Committee, a team that they are very impressed by. I mean, you got to keep in mind some of the talk around Pittsburgh is in their 2 losses. Number 1, those were heartbreaking losses against Louisville and West Virginia. But number 2, Mason Heinschel was not the starting quarterback at that moment in time. He has played really good, but I think this Notre Dame defense is continuously improving, and I think this offense is going to be able to have their way against Pittsburgh. And the mentality that Pat Narduzzi seems to be putting in his locker room, I'm not saying they're not going to come out firing, because I think they will. But if this game starts to get away from them, I think you have a real chance to see the rails completely fall off, and Pittsburgh gets destroyed in this game. I'm taking Notre Dame to win this game big. 41-10 is my final score prediction. I think Navy beats USF. I think there's, first off, TCU Tennessee, get them out of the playoff. I hope it works itself out. They are riding the coattails of a victory over a bad Florida team by 2 points. I am tired of this USF stuff. They are TCU Tennessee, and that's all they are. They run this gimmicky offense. They try to do the quick no-huddle stuff. And guess what? What I think is going to happen is Navy's going to make their drives flame out quickly, dominate time of possession. It's going to frustrate Alex Galesh, Byron Brown in that offense. And I think USF is going to get beat on the road at Navy. I'm also kind of hopeful that happens. At 3:30, Oklahoma goes on the road to Alabama. Alabama, you could talk about the run defense all you want for Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. It doesn't apply to Alabama. Josh Pate, give him a lot of credit. He pointed this out, and I was thinking this when I was getting in arguments with people online about this. Oklahoma being able to stop the run is not what's going to keep them in the game. They got to be able to score at least a little bit, and I don't trust in John Mateer and their own offense to be able to do that. I'd be shocked if this game isn't a little bit of a, maybe not a blowout, but a comfortable win for Alabama. I'd be shocked if that game was close. I think Iowa and USC is definitely a huge game for the Trojans here. They still only got 1 loss in conference play. Now their schedule down the stretch is pretty tough within conference play, having to play Iowa today, having to play Oregon still. But if USC can win out and they get a loss, Michigan beating Ohio State, guess who's going to the Big Ten Championship? I think it would be USC in that scenario. So there's a lot of things that you could see out there in the Big Ten. However, I kind of lean towards Iowa winning. I just think stylistically USC under Lincoln Riley struggles with these teams, and there's a lot of rumors about Lincoln Riley potentially jumping ship. Josh Pate, talking about him, I believe he was the one that actually brought it up on his show, but there are a lot of rumors. I didn't actually hear that clip, but I saw the headline, and it was on somebody's show. Lots of rumors. 12:30 local kick. I think this is a sleepy spot for USC. I'm taking Iowa to pull the upset, but I could be wrong. I think Duke and Virginia is also a big game to watch out for. I'm taking Duke to win the football game because Virginia's quarterback, Chandler Moore's banged up. And I think this Duke offense can still roll here. And at the end of the day, you can see a high scoring game here. I just don't trust in Virginia. Duke losing to UConn last week is one that I called. I do this thing with my buddies where I make a whole list of walk that line picks before I make these videos. And then I have the fringe locks, money line picks, and then long shots, underdogs. One of them was UConn and at plus 290. They ended up winning. I think Duke wasn't firmly invested in that game, the same kind of mentality that Pittsburgh's going to have. I think Duke's going to be very invested in this game, and I think they're going to be able to get it done. My Ohio State Buckeyes, by the way, you don't have to worry about them. They're going to cover against UCLA. I don't care if it's like 31.5. Utah and Baylor. I'm taking Baylor. They are playing for Coach Dave Aranda here. They are 5-4 right now. Their seasons, it's kind of on the brink of being able to save it for Baylor. That's kind of where I'm at. And this offense is really good. And I don't think that, especially with the two-way players, Utah can keep up with the Baylor offense. I'm taking Baylor at home to upset Utah. I'm taking Texas to go on the road and upset Georgia. Now, am I super convicted with that? No. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I don't trust Georgia's defense, against Texas's offense as much as I trust that Texas's run defense is going to be able to make that game put all the pressure on Gunner Stockton. I think at some point it's going to catch up to Gunner. So those are my big takeaways for today's ranked games. Let's get straight into walk that line. Here we go. The first game we're going to pick, Cincinnati -6 against Arizona. Shop around here. If you see it at 6.5, I'm sure you can find a 6 out there. I think Cincinnati wins by double digits. I think their offense is going to have a good day against Arizona and a huge bounce back spot off of the Utah loss and a bye. So watch out for Cincinnati here to be able to handle Arizona. I do like Arizona, but I don't love them going on the road in this spot. Navy plus 10.5. I certainly think with the way that Navy can shorten the game, that if they do lose, they keep it within 10 points. And if you can get it at 10.5, go right ahead and do that. UConn team total over 35.5 versus Air Force. I never bet spread against the academies. However, I am willing to do something like this, over unders. UConn's going to score a lot of points today against Air Force, and it's just a matter on if Air Force can keep up offensively. I am thinking that a lot of folks in the handicapping world thinks that this is a hangover spot for UConn. I disagree. I think that they're going to be able to score a lot of points, and they're probably going to allow a good bit too. The over is definitely in play here because Air Force, their offense has been playing a little bit better, but their defense is miserable. Indiana -28.5 versus Wisconsin. Shop around here. I think they win by 35 plus. This is a clear blowout spot for Kurt Cignetti's squad. They're coming off of a scare against the talented Penn State team. Wisconsin, huge hangover spot for them. The combination of the two, it's going to come together for an Indiana blowout. They're going to win by 35, 40 points here. Notre Dame -12.5. I really like them today. I think that they win by 20 plus points in this ball game against Pittsburgh with game day in town. I think the hype is going to be too much for Pittsburgh. And like I said, the wheels are going to fall off if this game starts going bad, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Let's go to slide number 2. We got Oregon State Tulsa. We're taking the under 50.5. Say what you want about Oregon State losing to Sam Houston. How incredibly embarrassing. But this defense is still playing some pretty good football. I don't have a lot of trust in either offense at this moment. So I'm taking the under 50.5 there. New Mexico taking -14 versus a lifeless Colorado State team. And I really think that this is a chance for Eck to build momentum over there. And they can also just really see what some of these playmakers can do in space. I think they're going to have some favorable matchups on offense. And I think this New Mexico defense has been playing better and better as the season's gone along. Alabama -5.5 versus Oklahoma. I said I think they're going to win by double digits. I'm not really all that concerned. If you're giving me 5.5, I think worst case scenario, Oklahoma can keep it to about a touchdown. I just don't see Oklahoma keeping this one close. Southern Miss -3 versus Texas State. Texas State disaster. Got in a fight after the loss against Louisiana. They do not look good. Southern Miss has one of the better defenses in this conference, and they are one of the best two teams, in my opinion, in this conference. I think they're second fiddle to James Madison, and my bad on the logo there. I'm taking James Madison minus 20.5 versus Appalachian State. My bad. I didn't get that JMU logo. How disrespectful of me for James Madison. But I am taking JMU minus 20.5 versus App State. Hammer them, man. Marshall gave everything they got against JMU. They barely covered even then. This JMU team is built different. They're going to lock things down. I'm riding the wave with JMU. Final slide here. We got Tennessee minus 38.5 versus New Mexico State. I like this all the way up to 40.5. They are going to win by like 42, 45 or something like that. Heupel he flexes his muscle against these teams, and I think that they're also going to look for a great defensive performance. I can see this being like a 59-10 type of game. So I am taking Tennessee blindly, just laying the big number. Washington, this is a huge bounce back spot against a Purdue defense who's not very good. The only reason that Ohio State didn't open it up more against them is because of the pace of play that Ohio State plays at and the interception in the end zone that Julian Sand threw. Washington needs a big bounce back. I think they're going to get it back at home. Team total over 34.5. That offense is going to get going against Purdue. Ohio State first half team total over 21.5. If they want to open it up against UCLA, they're going to score points quick and they're going to get explosive plays through the air against this UCLA defense. I think they scored somewhere between 24 and 31 points in the first half there. Mississippi State +7 at Missouri. I like Mississippi State outright to win this game. True freshman quarterback, a bounce back spot for Mississippi State. We got to see how Mississippi State is able to defend this run game, but I think that they have some advantages on the perimeter throwing the football. Blake Shapen just has to be smart with the football, but certainly I think that this game is down to the wire. So I'm taking Mississippi State +7 at Missouri. And that's really the only road team that I took this week because we're going back home here. Jack State, Kennesaw State, incredible game. I am picking Jack State to win outright, but I certainly will take the +3.5 if you're giving it to me because I really see this game as a field goal one way or another. And I'm on the side of the home team right now. I think these two teams are very even. We'll see how Kennesaw State will be able to travel in this spot. This is a huge game in the Conference USA for the race to the conference championship. I am excited to catch eyes on it later today. Jack State +3.5. Finally, Fresno State -3.5 versus Wyoming. I think they're going to blow them out. Look, Wyoming is a terrible road team, and I honestly think that they're lucky to have won as many games as they have this year. I don't think they're super good. So I'm taking Fresno State -3.5. So there you have it. Those are the 16 games. I can run right back through it for you. We're taking Cincinnati -6. Navy +10.5 versus USF. UConn, we're taking the team total over 35.5. Indiana -28.5. Notre Dame -12.5. And that's at Pittsburgh, by the way. I should have changed that. Anyway, Oregon State Tulsa, we're going under in that game, 50.5. New Mexico -14 against Colorado State. Alabama should be able to comfortably win against Oklahoma. Southern Miss, watch them blow out Texas State today. Margin call right there. James Madison, again, sorry about the logo, -20.5 against App State. Tennessee -38.5. Lay the big number. I don't even care against New Mexico State. Washington, we are taking the team total over 34.5. Ohio State first half, team total over 21.5 versus UCLA. Mississippi State's going to keep it close or win outright, and I'm picking them to win outright against Missouri. Jacksonville State +3.5 versus Kennesaw, and then Fresno State -3.5 against Wyoming. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your day of college football, and I'll see you guys in the next video.